Hello and welcome to the video. In it we have a new impact wrench from SeeSii. They sent it over for a test and review. So let's dive in and see what it's all about. First thing you see when you open the box, the sacred scroll, also known as the instruction manual. Naturally, we'll ignore that. Underneath that there's a bag we'll take a closer look at later on in the video. Also included are two 18-volt Makita style batteries, which I went ahead and fully charged before the video. You also get a 2-amp charger, not the fastest out there, but it gets the job done. It charges at only about 2 amps per hour, so it takes about 2 hours to fully charge one of these included batteries. And of course, here's the star of the show, the impact wrench itself. The model is, I believe, the WH760. It's a brushless motor tool, and it's rated for about 1000 Newton meters of breakaway torque. Honestly, just by the look and feel of it, that number does not seem exaggerated, unlike some other questionable claims we've seen from some random Amazon brands. So, we're off to a good start. The impact wrench has 3 clearly marked power modes, but let's not mess around. We're going straight to maximum attack and staying there, because moderation is not for the type of person who watches this channel. Alright, let's go back to the bag I mentioned earlier. Inside you'll find a few sockets and an extension bar. The extension doesn't have any markings on it, but judging by the look and finish, it could be chrome moly, though that's just an educated guess. The sockets, on the other hand, they're most likely chrome vanadium. Again, not officially stated anywhere, but the writing on them kind of gives it away really. Now, that's not to say these are completely useless with the impact wrench. You can definitely use them, and for light or occasional work, they'll probably do just fine. But personally, I treat them more as a backup. If you're planning to use this tool regularly or for more demanding jobs, I definitely recommend investing in a proper set of impact rated sockets. These included ones are more of a get you started kind of deal. Not bad to have, but not something you want to rely on long term. Moving on, I've already started removing my wheel bolts using the included 70mm socket. I'm doing this so I can torque them down to a specific value, and then we'll test the tool's breakaway torque. While I'm setting this up, it's the perfect time for you to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and drop a comment below letting me know what you think of this tool. As I mentioned earlier, the included sockets are a nice little bonus, but for wheel bolts, I still prefer to use my own set. There's no protective sleeve on the included one, and it's already rubbing against the alloy, which isn't ideal, so I'm sticking with the ones I already have. So, battery fully charged, and tool set to maximum attack. Let's see what it can do. We're starting with 150 Newton meters, which is the standard torque setting for most car wheel bolts. Should not be a tough test by any means for this impact wrench, especially when they're claiming 1000 Newton meters of breakaway torque. But we've got to start somewhere. As you just saw, 150 Newton meters did not cause it any trouble at all. So naturally, the next step is to bump things up to 200 Newton meters and see how it handles that. Now, just a quick note for context. Freshly torqued down wheel bolts are much easier to remove than bolts that have been through a few winters. So while 200 Newton meters is a decent number, it's not exactly a worst case scenario. Still, no surprises here. 200 Newton meters did not slow it down at all. We'll keep pushing higher torque numbers in just a moment, but while we're here at 200, there's something else I want to demonstrate. This is a great chance to show you how using an extension affects your tool's performance. And I also want to show you the difference between the included socket and just a slightly better set. Oh, and one quick detail before we start. The bolt on the right is torqued down a bit beyond 200 Newton meters, as you may have just seen, while the other two are sitting right around the 200 mark. So let's see what happens now. Now's probably a good time to take a guess. How much slower do you think the extension is going to make this? Let me know in the comments below. So, the moral of the story, don't use an extension unless you really have to. You saw what happened. As for the included sockets, they're not terrible, especially considering they come as a bonus. But here's the reality. After just 5 bolts, this is what they look like. Meanwhile, on well over 200 bolts, this is what the very cheap impact sockets look like. Alright, with that out of the way, let's turn things up a bit. We're going for 270 Newton meters and then 340 Newton meters. And we've also upgraded to a 27mm socket for this part. And of course, we're still running in maximum mode, full power all the way. First up, 270 Newton meters. No problems there, and now 340. And also, no problems at all. So far so good. The testing up to this point has shown that with the right sockets, this impact wrench is more than capable of handling just about any automotive job. It even managed to remove freshly tightened wheel nuts on the lorry. But I did start to find its limitations. Some of the nuts on this thing have been in place for years, and the threads are just about as rusty as they come. So in the end, even though I gave it a good go, there are just some jobs a half-inch impact wrench cannot quite handle. But when the nuts are just rusty and not severely over-torqued, it's still got a fighting chance. Take this tractor for example. It hasn't been used in about 10 years and the nuts likely hadn't been touched for even longer. But because they were never hammered on with an impact at full blast, they were never over-torqued. So let's give it a shot. Well, maybe they should have used an impact wrench because those nuts felt like they were barely hanging on. Speaking of an impact wrench, this other tractor has 32mm lug nuts. Not torqued to spec, mind you, but let's say they were carefully tightened with a big red tool. I think you know what I mean. This is where the SeeSii really impressed me. I know it's a bit on the pricey side for an Amazon tool, but once again, that 1000 Nm claim seems completely reasonable, especially considering what I just showed you. A lot of sellers on Amazon throw out imaginary torque numbers, but this one just feels legit. Another thing I like is that unlike some other brands I've tested, this one actually works really well with the batteries it comes with. No need to swap them out for better ones just to get decent performance. Now, I don't think it's meant for heavy-duty agricultural or construction work. It's clearly aimed at DIY automotive use, and honestly, I think it does a really good job at that. But just to be safe, let's take a look inside the tool. I'll skip over the charger and battery since there's nothing too exciting here. They're pretty standard. The charger is a basic 2A unit without active cooling, but it does get the job done. The battery is your typical Makita-style 18-volt pack, which tops out around 21 volts when fully charged. What's worth mentioning though is that the control board is actually one of the better ones that I've come across. Now let's dive into the internals of the tool itself. And there it is. Nothing surprising, and at first glance, mostly standard off-the-shelf components. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with that when the components are decent. The control board, for instance, looks well designed for heat management, unlike a few other products I've looked at on the channel. The trigger is impressively smooth and progressive, which is a nice surprise for a budget brushless tool. I also like these rubber inserts here. They help keep everything securely in place. And finally, there's a large motor driving a hefty hammer and anvil assembly, giving the tool some real punch. With a large motor, a 600-gram hammer, and a 100-gram anvil, it's clear to me that the 1000 Nm torque claim is more than reasonable for this tool. I'm aware that I'm repeating myself a bit, but it's worth saying again that there's nothing groundbreaking here. But everything works together really well, and in my opinion, that's far more important than having flashy features that just don't deliver. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think of this tool in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful.